Okay, so for our next session, we heard earlier about how data is being used to reframe communication strategies to address the glaring health inequities that have been amplified by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we also heard about how those health inequities have helped to remind people of the enduring value of communications. And now to perhaps join the dots a little bit, we're going to hear how data can transform and elevate the communications function. And to lead this discussion, we have three bona fide experts when it comes to this area. I'm very happy to introduce all of the panelists. From Omnicom Public Relations Group, we have the CEO, Chris Foster, and the Chief Innovation Officer, Erin Lanuti. And from the Project Management Institute, we have the Global Communications and Brand Vice President, Kerman Kassad. I will hand over the virtual stage to Chris and Erin. It's all yours. Thank you very much. Chris, I think you're on mute.
Probably the most popular phrase of the last 18 months, Chris, you're on mute. I said, Arun, thank you. It's great to see you, and I really appreciate being back at Provoke Global, so thanks so much. We have a lot to cover today. I think Arun did a great job in sort of setting up the conversation. I want to welcome Kerman and Erin to the conversation. What we're going to talk about today is data science, and the potential for data to be a real superpower to transform the way we practice communications. And I think we have two exceptional panelists who are very close to this issue, and I think you're going to give us a really exciting perspective to share. So welcome, and I know we have a lot to cover in a short period of time. So Kerman, I'm going to start with you. Let's look at you're actually managing and supporting over 3 million project management professionals globally. From your perspectives, what does measurement look like today, and what's the role that data science plays on that measurement journey?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris. First, I want to say that PMI is for purpose and not for profit organization, but we operate like any enterprise. We are structured like any enterprise, so that we look at outcomes and we look at our measurement, but we look at our measurement differently because all the markets are not the same. North America, where we have a much more mature program, we look at it very differently. And when we go back and look at the regions where another 15 to 20 countries that we really operate in, we operate like a startup mode. And where we are still developing a lot of channels, a lot of platforms, are trying to really understand our customers more intimately. In those markets, our measurement is very, very different. In fact, in those markets, our stakeholders, our business leaders don't even want to just look at numbers. They would want to look at us from a position of how are we helping them and enabling them in their businesses. So in a nutshell, our measurement varies from market to market. How we measure ourselves in North America is vastly different than what we can measure, let's say, in Japan or Australia or India. So over a period of time, we have become very adept to measuring our outcome in a hybrid environment that really reflects at the various stage of maturity of our program is in that particular region. So this is how we actually approach the entire outcome measurement and analytics at PMI.
That's great. I love you referring to the fact that data helps tell a story, and measurement helps enable your teams to actually do their jobs better. That's great. I think it's really, that's how I see the world. So Erin, there's data, there's data management, there's data science, there's data integration, all critical to driving precision in communications. When you look at things through your lens, your innovation lens, where do you see white space?
So I really see white space as moving PR beyond impression and engagement, right? I think we've got to move PR to business outcomes and really understand the who behind the what of PR. If you think about it, as consumers increasingly spend more and more time online, right, whether it be with online content or even digital commerce, the pressure and the opportunity for us is to really understand who these people are and the actions that they're taking. So for argument's sake, let's say I have a client that's a luxury handbag manufacturer, right? Today, the majority of our clients, we would go to them and say, okay, we've driven 1 million impressions and 500 shares on a campaign. But the real opportunity is to be able to go to that CEO and say, here's the audience consuming that content. Here's where they're located, right? Here are their interests. Here's who influences them. And also be able to say that that audience drove 30% lift in handbag sales during the campaign window. So to me, that's the white space and the opportunity, and also a huge reason why PR doesn't have a bigger seat at the table.
So Aaron, so that's an interesting perspective. Are you saying that there is a need to treat people who consume earned media the same way you treat, people who consume, promotional posts and ads?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I think that earned media consumption is far more valuable than paid. And the reason being that people consuming earned media express a much higher intent and attention than those who consume paid ads. So the average person consuming a New York Times article spends about 3 minutes, right, reading that article, which is way more time than they spend consuming a digital ad, which might be just mere seconds, right? So a lot was discussed last week during Advertising Week about us being in the attention economy. And if we're in the attention economy, then earned media is king, right? Because 3 minutes compared to mere seconds is a huge difference. So really the opportunity for us is to be able to tell you who's consuming that New York Times article, and be able to take the IDs of the people consuming that article and plug it back into the marketing mix, right? That's the opportunity. And that's what we've done with Omni Earned ID.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes sense. I appreciate that. So let's ask the same question, Kerman, to you. At PMI, where are you seeing the opportunity to get more from your communications data?
Absolutely. So this is very timely. Just about a couple of weeks back, our marketing team undertook a very comprehensive 15 countries buyers persona. Very insightful, very detailed, talks about data, talks about insight. And it took me a while to really invest my time and be committed to understanding our customers. So I started with UK, US, and Canada, and each one of them had distinct reference points. They had different consumption pattern. They were looking at reputation of our products, certifications differently. How are they going to use those after consuming our products very differently? What was their brand inclination? I think that was also very insightful. And after consuming our products and services, how do they really measure success? And I think that is the key. So, personas have really provided me the precision insight that I was looking at. It really helps me to understand, like Erin mentioned, what is the trusted publication that they are referring when they are making this decision? What is the reading behavior? What is the amount of time that they are actually spending on, let's say, an application? And what does this really mean to all of us? So it has really helped me, and will continue helping my team in a couple of ways. One is, creating a messaging that is really applicable to my consumers and my stakeholders in that market. Help me better plan media. I don't need to look at just X or Y publication merely because it has that length and breadth of readership. I can really develop my media planning accordingly, develop campaign using creatively the message and insights that has come out. And at the end of the day, what it is really helping me to do is it is enhancing my ability and effectiveness of storytelling, which is directly impacting reputation and brand. And I think if we historically look back at getting insights and data, it has been marketing that has really led the charge. They were the ones who were very invested in data personas. PR agencies and communication professionals like me and you, we did not. We were not really invested, but I see that really changing. And I particularly am very invested into bias persona, understanding the nuances, the insights, the data, the details. I have a very strong marketing background. I had led marketing function earlier, and I truly believe that this partnership between marketing and PR can be a very powerful outcome-driven force. And above all, I think there's one thing which is a big takeaway for all of us is, a measurable program gives us a seat on leadership table. I think that is really very important, vital, and essential for our functional discipline.
No, look, I could not agree more. And I think it's a really good point, especially a seat at the table with more evidence in real time with how we could measure and practice smart communication, which I really like a lot. And the one thing that I'm hearing in what you said, but I think it's an important point for the audience is how we interact with data and our ability to use data, not to figure out what questions to ask, not to answer questions, but figure out what questions we should ask and what we should expect of our communications campaign so that we can get more precise throughout the course of a campaign. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And it sounds like PMI is on a journey as it relates to measurement, which is great, and especially over the last year. Aaron, can you talk a little bit about how we fill the unmet need to connect communications to outcomes and what your experience has been on that?
Sure. So we've built an analytics and insights platform called OmniEarned ID, which today we have over 75 clients on. And what's been remarkable is how all of the clients are using it differently. So we have a chunk of clients that are using it to understand who's consuming, commenting, and sharing content, articles, etc. And then they use that to inform better content creation, to understand what the interests and habits are of the target audiences. They're also using it for executive visibility campaigns. But ultimately, it's about taking those people, those audiences, and mapping them to business outcomes. So whether that be change in behavior, it could be change in corporate reputation, as Kerman was talking about. It could be sales. Ultimately, I think we want to help organizations to understand what's going on in culture, understand what's going on with who's consuming their media, and create better content, but also ultimately attribute what we do to really driving the bottom line. So let me give you a great example of this. In the spring, we worked on a campaign for the American Egg Board, which is a client of our Ketchum agency. And they have a huge Easter campaign they do every year. And we were looking to create an influencer campaign to drive more sales of eggs, right? The egg category. And so we were able to use OmniEarned ID to understand and validate the influencers, not just based on attributes we would typically look at, like brand fit and interests and engagement with the content, but OmniEarned ID allowed us to understand the actual sales of the followers of the influencers as another way to validate that they were the right fit for the campaign. So fast forward, we execute the campaign, we select all of the influencers. And we're able to show that the campaign drove a 7% lift in egg sales. Now, egg category sales is a much bigger lift than product sales, right? So it's a pretty big lift. In addition, we were able to prove that we drove 186,000 people into egg purchases who hadn't been in the category in the last 52 weeks before. And finally, we were able to show that the infamous question of what's the ROI, right? So we showed that the campaign drove a 233% lift in ROI. So again, being able to finally look at a campaign linked to a business outcome, whether it be, influencer, consumer, corporate reputation, is really a huge unmet need that we're excited this now helps us to solve.
That's great. No, that's really good to see. And it's interesting, so much of, what we experience in our industry, the technology is there, the data science is there. I feel like we're at that place, and Kerman, you mentioned this earlier, around where your point of view was the communication industry was lagging a little bit relative to embracing and using data science technology in the practice of communications. I guess my question is, it feels like it's a change management opportunity for us now as an industry. So Kerman, I'm interested from your perspective, how do you get people to sort of catch up and embrace the power of data science technology? And what's your experience been? Because I think your teams sit at a very unique intersection of that, as project managers.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's a journey, and it's a journey that keeps on going. But let me ask each one of us, all communication professionals, let's go back 10, 12 years from where we are today. And, at that point in time, we were being told that there's absolutely no data in communication, and let's look at today. From very little data, we have lots of data, and so at PMI, this is what our experience has been, that, we started our journey in 2020, and we created the set of measurements, and, they were very fancy data. Everything was really very impressive. We were very excited. We presented this to our executive leadership team, which I'm a part of it. I saw some smiles, pleasant face, but, I did not get the feeling they really got the bigger picture, So this was the challenge that we confronted, at least I confronted, from very little data to a lot of data. And this is the point I would like to make is data, yes, it does speak for itself, but we have to give a voice. If we give a voice, it can speak clearer and louder. It helps us to make the connection and connects it with the outcome, as Erin suggested. Not, otherwise it is all communication and PR speak, So I think where we were is we did a good job in measuring the outcome. We did poorly on connecting the outcome to our business goals. So what we did was, starting 2021, I engaged my my business leadership team, and we came with bespoke set of measurements that directly connects with our overall business goals. So one, I have them engaged, I have them, committed. Now there's a skin in the game, and I can really demonstrate quarter after quarter the changes that we are making and the needle we are moving. Let me give you an example. What does this really mean? So in 2021, as you know, that we actually speak for our profession, project management. We evangelize the role of project managers in various different industries. So obviously one of our business goals was to reach out and expand the project managers universe from very traditional project managers to change makers, which means that people already using project management skills but not aware, that they are actually using the skills. We wanted to actually reach out. So make connection, reach out, engage them, and bring them into our fold. And here, our top four, measurement tools directly links to this one particular goal that we set out to achieve. And this literally kind of, goes into our CEO's priority as well. That is being signed up by the board. So here, we are not only measuring, but we are demonstrating a real-time impact of, the changes and the contributions we are making into developing our business goals.
No, that's great. That's great. I'm sensitive to time. I've got sort of two rapid fire questions for you and Aaron, and Aaron, I'll start with you. With all the talk around technology and data and precision measurement, AI, will technology replace people in our industry anytime soon?
No, absolutely not. It will help enhance, it will improve, it will not replace.
Come on, do you disagree with Aaron?
No, in fact, I like to build on everything that we said. One of the things that we bring on table as communication professional is the EQ. While everything else, it will, AI will really enhance our ability to understand the patterns, understand the data, get the data. But it is the EQ that we have will help us decipher the data and come out with creative plans and programs that really engage. So I see technology more as an enabler and enhancer rather than replacer.
No, I think that's great. And then final question from our standpoint, and come on, since you have the camera, I'll ask you, when you look out into the future, 12 to 18 months, not that any of us would ever suggest we can predict the future, just given the last 2 years we've had, what's most exciting to you about our data science and measurement journey as an industry?
I think, what is most exciting is, it is well known that and well established that we as communicators contribute at the top of the funnel. But to me, that is not good enough. As we are making progress by leap and bound by data science, I think it is important that we should have the line in sight of, all right, the data is really coming in. What is marketing doing with the data and the traffic that we are driving in? And that's the exciting part, because I believe that we have a role to play with in the engagement part in the middle of the funnel to nurture and meaningfully engage our customer. I see this as a graduation, as a progression in next 12 to 18 months.
That's great. Aaron, same question to you as you look into the crystal ball.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's about breaking the measurement ceiling that we have in PR. I think it's about moving PR to redefine and reimagine its role in the marketing mix to make it a precision communications channel.
And I will agree with what you've said, both of you, and use moderator privilege and say, I am more excited about the future of our industry now than I've ever been. I do think relative to the question on change management and how we interact with data and technology differently, I think we're on that journey, each of us at a different level, but I think we definitely see there's a journey. I think we're on it. I believe deeply in the power of communications, and I think it's sort of even more prominent now than ever across organizations globally. So with that in mind, Aaron Lanuti, appreciate your perspective today. Kraman Kassad, thank you so much for the partnership, with our team at Ketchum and for the panel today. So thank you both.
Thank you.